Yo guys, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most hated anime characters of all time, Sakura Haruno. So, thing about Sakura, um, I think the reason she's hated the most is because people call her useless. She just doesn't match up with any of the other three members of Team 7, and for that reason, she's seen as pretty much useless character. She has like one good fight in the whole series, and the only reason that she actually did anything is because she had strings attached to her and she was being used as a puppet. But yeah, before we get into it, just if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing, and stay tuned for more. So we have to think about the first scenario that comes up. Okay, um, yeah, obviously we're going to be talking about the series if Sakura didn't exist, because seeing as how she's seen as useless, I want to kind of go throughout the whole series and see what would happen if Sakura didn't exist in the series at all. How much would it change the series? What would happen? Well, we'll get into it. But the first thing that we really need to decide is, are we going to have another member be added to Team 7 or no? Because the ninja teams always have three people, and if Sakura didn't exist, then it wouldn't be a full team. So for this scenario, leaving Sakura out of the picture, I think it's only fair to just not add another person, at least not off the bat, because, well, it seems like all the teams at the start were even once they graduated the Ninja Academy, so it doesn't seem like there was an extra person. So for a while, we're just not going to add that extra person. But obviously, as the series went on and Sasuke left the village, they had to add an extra person to the team, and so we're going to do that as well. But eventually, we'll decide when it's really needed. So the first main arc is the bridge builder arc, the hidden mist, I believe it is, arc. And so in this arc, Sakura did absolutely nothing. She walked with them to the place. She protected the bridge builder by standing next to him when what's his name attacked, Zabuza, when Zabuza attacked. But this was completely useless because she was just like the backup, I guess, to protect the bridge builder. But the bridge builder never needed protecting because Sasuke and Naruto were, they defeated him before he had a chance to get close to the bridge builder. So yeah, she was there and she had a role to play, but she didn't actually do anything. So this first arc, nothing at all changes. There was that little training arc during it when they learned to walk up trees, and she was the best at it, quotation marks. But I feel like that was just the author giving her something that she was good at, even though it was completely useless, because they really never needed to walk up trees and at any point in the rest of the series, or it wasn't a big factor. And Sasuke and Naruto learned like the next day. So yeah, she did kind of encourage them, but I feel like Sasuke and Naruto would have been fine without her. So the next arc is where things really begin to change without her, because as you know, the Chunin exams, you need a three-person squad in order to join it. And since the exams basically started as soon as I got back from the Bridge Builder arc, from what I remember, I don't think that we can add another person to the squad yet, because as you know, with Sai, it took him a while to be added to the team, even after Sasuke left the village. So I don't think there's just a person waiting around that needs to go into the exams. So for this reason, Naruto and Sasuke can't actually enter the Chunin exams, which is probably my favorite arc in the whole show. And so not having that arc be the same would be quite a big change. So the first big change neither of them actually became Chunin, so the actual end results of the Chunin exams would be relatively the same, but the actual arc with Orochimaru attacking the village and Gaara and everything, that would be slightly different because first of all, Orochimaru, his main reason for attacking the village was just revenge on the Leaf Village, but while he was there, he did want to get spread the curse mark to Sasuke, but seeing as Sasuke is not participating in the exams, this is going to look a little different. So considering how that Team 7 isn't in the exams, they can still be given missions and everything. So they might not even be in the village during the exams. They might be out in another village doing a mission or something. Or they could just be just busy in the village doing missions, like catching cats or whatever they have the Genin do. But so does Sasuke get the bite mark? That's the real question, or the curse mark. So since Orochimaru probably still knows about Sasuke, he's still gonna want to give him the curse mark. It's just gonna look different when he actually gets it. It won't be during the Forest of Death, the second phase of the exam, because Sasuke won't be there. So sometime during the attack, whether it or even after the attack, maybe Orochimaru's gonna have to find Sasuke and give him the bite mark. And keep in mind, Kakashi's gonna be there also, since they're those three. He's like their teacher. They're in the squad together. So Orochimaru's gonna have to get past Kakashi to get to Sasuke to get his body. So this would basically be an arc in itself, just a small arc, but with Orochimaru attacking them while they're on a mission or something and biting Sasuke. But aside from that, the actual Chunin exams, since the attack was planned from the start, it didn't really have anything to do with either Naruto or Sakura or Sasuke. The attack would still go through as planned, and the other thing that would change hugely is that Naruto wouldn't meet Jiraiya at the same time, and he wouldn't learn the summoning technique, and so for that reason, he would not actually be able to defeat Gaara, because, Naruto may not even be in the village. As I said, him not being in the exam means he could be on a mission when the attack happens. So lots of different things could. Naruto wouldn't have learned that technique. So him not meeting Jiraiya at that point. Now we know later on that Jiraiya is connected to Naruto, and that's why he was chosen to be his instructor. So he would still likely meet Naruto, just not at that time. Because remember, this is only like a few months into, probably only a month into Naruto's actual ninja training. And so I'm guessing Jiraiya would want to wait a little longer, maybe until they actually do enter the Chunin exams, before he becomes Naruto's mentor. So as far as the end results of the Chunin exams, Gaara would not be stopped by Naruto, but there are plenty of powerful ninjas in the village that could stop him. It was kind of just... So yeah, it was kind of plot armor that Naruto was the one that defeated Gaara, just because he's the main character. But I think that any of the ninjas in the village honestly could have, or at least they could have teamed up. Jiraiya was probably available, seeing as how he was training Naruto at the time. He wouldn't have to do that. So he might have still been in the village, I'm not sure. But he easily could have defeated Gaara. I feel like there's quite a few ninjas in the village that could have. Even if they weren't on a mission, Naruto, Kakashi, and Sasuke could have shown up on the scene. That could have been, an arc. Not the full Chunin exam arc, but it could have tied into it. But anyways, so as far as original Naruto, like before Shippuden, not much changes. It's just how things happen changes. The end results are basically all the same without Sakura. It's just how to get there doesn't, or how to get there changes. So because so the next arc would be Tsunade arc. That would by then, seeing as Jiraiya was the one to do it, maybe he could have had Naruto come along for that. So that wouldn't really change anything other than the fact that he wouldn't be learning the Rasengan then. So his fight against, Orochimaru at the end of that arc would look a little different as well. But I think that it would pretty much all turn out the same. He just wouldn't have the Rasengan, but I don't even remember if he really used it. Um, so then the next arc comes, which is the Sasuke retrieval arc. But seeing as I'm not really sure if Orochimaru was able to give Sasuke the curse mark yet, or if it didn't have enough time to develop, I can't be sure that this arc actually happened yet. So there might be some more time in between the last arc and then when Sasuke actually leaves the village, because just of how things turned out with Sakura not being there, they couldn't enter the exams, so Orochimaru didn't give Sasuke the curse mark at the same time. But we're gonna assume that eventually he did get the curse mark, and eventually things turned out the same, and he did leave the village. By then, Naruto could have learned the Rasengan by Jiraiya, just not while they were journeying, or maybe on a different journey, different mission. He taught him the Rasengan, so all that pretty much pans out the same. And that is the end of original Naruto. The end results again are all the same because Sakura didn't do anything during the Sasuke retrieval arc. She just stayed at home at the village healing fish. But so then we get on to Shippuden, and the first arc is the Sasori arc, and Sasori and Deidara in the village, or in the Hidden Sand village, I believe it is called. Um, this arc is gonna look a little bit different, I guess. So by now, it's just Naruto and Kakashi on the team. So we're gonna assume that they added another member to the team because there's no way they would let a two-person team exist. So we're just gonna add like a regular bland character to the team, but it's not gonna be Sakura, it's not gonna be Sasuke or Sai. It's just gonna be a bland character that's not gonna directly be involved in the story, except for one thing coming up. So we know how Lady Chio and Sakura defeated Sasori, but was it actually Sakura that did anything in this arc? I don't think so, because what we saw happen is Lady Chio just attached the strings to Sakura and controlled her. It wasn't actually Sakura making the movements or the choices. She was just being controlled by Lady Chio. So, seeing as there's now this extra bland character, he can just be used as kind of this puppet to be controlled by Lady Chio. And honestly, Lady Chio might not have to die because she could use the antidote on herself and just sacrifice this useless guy. Well, I mean, he's not useless. If it was a real story, he wouldn't be useless, but for the sake of this conversation, he'll just be useless. So he might end up dying just because he doesn't have, the plot armor that Sakura has. Lady Chio we're gonna still say she dies. The mission, it might be tougher to defeat Sasori because Sakura did have that strength, but we're gonna assume that this ninja wasn't a complete nobody, and he could at least punch pretty strongly or have his own techniques. And again, Sakura didn't have anything special other than healing and a strong punch. So even if this guy has like one other jutsu, he would have a better chance than Sakura did. So then the next arc is the Sasuke retrieval part 2, kind of. And by now Sai joined Team 7. So we do have him along. And so I can't imagine this second Sasuke retrieval arc being much different from what it was in the actual show without Sakura, because she again didn't really directly influence the story. She got attacked by Naruto when he went rage mode, but that didn't change anything in the story really. She didn't I mean, yeah, she doesn't really have any fights where she actually does anything. So the biggest thing that she changed, at least so far, was just her not being a part of the team means that it's not a full 3-man squad. But of course, there are ways around this. So as the story progresses, the next arc, nothing really happens. There's quite a few arcs, and then we get to the pain arc, where again, I do think that she does heal some people, but there are plenty of healers, as we see in the Great Ninja War arc. There are plenty of healers. She did do her part, but plenty of other people could have healed as well. She might have taken out one of the pains. I can't remember exactly, but even if she did, and I mean, there's plenty of people there that can pick up her slack. But I would say that the only other thing that happens that she directly influences is in the final battle with Naruto, when he, basically dies and she has to restart his heart. This could be the biggest change of the whole thing, depending on what I decide happens, basically. So seeing as she doesn't exist, there it was her at that specific moment that saved Naruto. There might have been other healers around, but it was her that made the decision to save Naruto. Obviously, lots of people would have wanted to save Naruto, but it was her specifically that did it, and we're not sure if other people could have saved him. And seeing as this is basically the last important thing, I mean, she did a little bit against Kaguya, but nothing that nothing that Sasuke or Naruto couldn't have done themselves. But yeah, this is basically the last thing that she does that directly influences the story. And so either Naruto dies and everyone loses the war, or someone else has to heal Naruto. And seeing as nothing has changed in the story so far really without her, yeah, this is kind of just up in the air. Does someone else save Naruto, or does he just die? This is basically the deciding factor on if her not existing would actually change the story or not. And so I'm just gonna say that, as considering how much plot armor Naruto has, the main character wouldn't die right here. I know this is all a hypothetical and everything, but we can just assume that someone else was able to heal Naruto and restart his heart and everything. So that's basically the last thing. So in conclusion, without Sakura, Naruto would the show Naruto would look a little different. It would be different to watch, but the end results would ultimately be the same. And Shippuden would hardly change at all. It's mostly just in the Chunin exams where the big changes happen. And so, if you guys were trying to defend her, saying that, oh, she was actually useful, she basically was useless. I mean, all the times that she really directly influenced the story were because someone else was using her, or it was just something that someone else could have done themselves. And so, yes, while she is a useless character, I've never really absolutely hated her as much as everyone else, but she is pretty useless. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll catch you next time.